Imagine someone who has the world at their feet. Admiration, wealth, being surrounded by crews and collaborators and fans. Everything you do draws millions of views. But at the same time, feeling so painfully lonely, so much so that you cannot go on any longer. This was the case for Anthony Bourdain, who was a globally admired chef, a best-selling author, and television star. His professional network was so vast, to make an understatement. Yet in private reflections and interviews, Bourdain described profound isolation. He said that forming genuine connections under constant scrutiny is impossible for him, and that being famous was unbearably superficial. Tragically, this unaddressed loneliness contributed to his death by suicide in 2018. And there are many more examples like this. Even more extreme, Robin Williams, widely beloved for his warmth and humor, yet dealing with deep isolation despite incredible popularity, or Madonna, who at the height of her career confessed to periods of feeling that she didn't have a friend in the world. It's such a paradox. People who are well liked by many and socially engaged with so many people can experience such extreme loneliness. How does this happen? The reason is that having a lot of people around you doesn't mean much when you don't have relationships that have depth and authenticity. So today we'll talk about how to really connect with people. And as usual, we'll rely on science for the answer, and hint, it's not the number of people around you. So stick around, you'll learn a lot about how to build your most important building block for happiness and success. That's your deep social connections. Okay, so first things first, why should we bother building deep connections? Well, the benefits are huge. For example, strong relationships boost our happiness. They give us a sense of belonging and joy that no solo hobby or even solo success can match. And then there's our health. Research shows that if you don't have strong social connections, you are increasing your mortality risk. You're more likely to die. In fact, you're increasing your mortality risk by an amount equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day or drinking 6 alcoholic drinks a day. That's how much strong social connections matter for your life. So here are a couple of ways that are intuitive, but not actually right to build social connections. You might think that small talk, for example, is a great way to build connections. And it's a great icebreaker, don't get me wrong, but it actually does not work in terms of building deep connection. Why? Well, one, by design, it's surface level. If we're talking about weather and sports and other safe topics, we're going to avoid emotions and challenges and vulnerabilities. It greases up social interaction, makes them go smoother, but it doesn't reveal who you really are. It also builds comfort. It doesn't build closeness. It's perfect for acquaintances, but studies show that people underestimate how rewarding deep conversations are and can be. So if you stick to small talk, you're going to be stuck in polite familiarity. Moreover, for people who are introverted, small talk can feel like performing a script, and that leads to more loneliness and not less loneliness. Another way that seems intuitive to build connections, but is not actually right, is being nice and generous. It's certainly admirable to help other people and be generous with them, but it can backfire if you want deep connections. First, it can create an imbalance. If you're always giving of your time and support without receiving or asking, you are blocking a key ingredient in small connections, which is reciprocity, the back and forth that close friends have with each other. True closeness comes from interdependence, where both sides invest in each other. People who are overgiving end up with appreciative acquaintances, but not with close friends. And people might even pull away because they feel indebted to them. Second, it's a barrier to authenticity. If you're overly nice, that's like putting on an emotional armor and avoiding conflict or rejection by staying always agreeable. But without sharing your flaws and your struggles and your needs, you're bonding to a mask. You're not bonding to a real person. Vulnerability is what builds trust and empathy. And many kind people face the paradox of being well-liked by many other people and yet feeling very lonely because their giving isn't paired with actual opening up. Finally, another intuitive idea that we need to lay to rest is that some people are just extroverted and are better than others in connecting. It sounds logical, but actually academic research tells a different story. A 2021 study found that extroversion leads to having more acquaintances and having bigger networks because you talk to more people, but it doesn't necessarily lead to deeper, closer connections. Extroverts have larger advice networks because of their sociability, but there's no link to emotional closeness, and there's no link to having stronger ties. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Okay, so here's the key behavior that really predicts closer connection. What research points to is one key action that reliably builds deep connection, and that's self-disclosure. What's self-disclosure? It's sharing personal information about yourself, thoughts, feelings, experiences, vulnerabilities, in a way that goes beyond the surface. Things that you wouldn't tell any old acquaintances or strangers. It's opening up to let somebody see the real you. So for example, instead of the weather is nice, you can say, I've been feeling stressed about work lately because I'm worried about my job security. Or, I've always wanted to travel to Japan because my dad told stories about it. What's a place on your bucket list? Or, I'm scared of public speaking, even though I do it for my job. Those are admissions and a private disclosures of information that you wouldn't necessarily tell anyone. And because they are exclusive, because they are special, other people will feel closer to you when you tell them that. They would feel like they want to listen to you and help you and engage in conversation with you. They would feel like you are treating them as somebody special, unlike anybody else in the room when you are disclosing these private information. Now, the science backs this up. A meta-analysis, a review of all the research about self-disclosure, found strong links. People who disclose are more liked by others. People disclose more to people who they like more. And when somebody discloses something to you, you like them more. It's a dynamic cycle that drives relationship development. When you think about it, when somebody discloses something private to you, your usual response, if you're like most people, is empathy, trust, and feeling closer to them and wanting to help them. And this is why we say that self-disclosure is the way, is the building block to build stronger relationships. Self-disclosure is more important than your personality. Those who are extroverted talk to more people, but if they don't self-disclose, if they don't provide private information about themselves, they won't build stronger connections. In short, self-disclosure is the bridge from shallow chats to meaningful bonds. So here are a few practical tips to self-disclose effectively without scaring people off. First, don't go overboard. If you don't know somebody well yet, start on a moderate level. Share something personal, but not too intimate right away, like a hobby or a passion or a dream, instead of your deepest trauma. That's a good way to slowly build a deep connection. Second, make it related to the other person. Tie your disclosure to the extent that you can to something that they have said. If they mention travel, share your own story. If they mention a goal, share a goal that you have. If they mention a screw up, share a mistake that you've made in the past. Third, after you self-disclose, wait for reciprocity. Wait for them to say something back. After you share, pause and see if they elevate their disclosure level too. If they open up in return, you're in a virtuous cycle of growing closer together. If not, look for positive signs before you go deeper. Don't force it. Usually what you'll find is when you self-disclose, people self-disclose back. But if they don't, then stop there. So my advice is practice this gradually. If you self-disclose to others, you'll notice your relationships become deeper and stronger. So connecting is not about small talk, it's not about being funny, it's not about being generous or likable. It's not about being outgoing or extroverted. It's about self-disclosure. We connect with people when we make them feel special, when we tell them something that we don't usually tell other people. So start small, be genuine with others, and watch your world change. So what do you think? Have you tried self-disclosure? How did it go? Drop your stories in the comments below. I read them all. If this is helpful, please like and share and subscribe for more insights backed by research. Remember, real connections are worth the vulnerability. See you next time.